You're live on Locked On Live with Mark Zanetto here. It's deja vu all over again for the Huskies. Let's talk about it. You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We're obviously live. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This last couple of months, awesome engagement. Love that there's plenty of people that are going to be watching this today because, of course, UConn is on a unprecedented 2-game losing streak. I didn't even have time to look up when that happened last. Maybe we'll have some people on the show that can fill me in on that. Give you a heads up, we're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project. So even if you are a Husky hater and you want to engage, all of that engagement helps our revenue. And you'll be sending kids to UConn basketball on both the men's and women's side and football games, baseball, etc. So love to hear that. If you're enjoying the show, please take a moment to subscribe and follow wherever you listen. Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. All right, let's talk about it. I got Dan backstage. I'm going to bring him in a second, like normal, on my Tuesday, Thursday co-host of Exit 68. I will 100% eat crow for how much I've hyped up this team and how much I've essentially talked about their talent. Not that it's not there. Not that I don't believe that it can't be harnessed, because it's still November 26th. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. We have a ton of basketball to play. I thought Dan has been doing, some tinkering, and I think some of it worked today and some of it didn't. But I just don't know how you can watch this game tonight. Who I watched, and I don't get to watch a lot of basketball game with my father anymore because he doesn't live close. But he's been here this whole week, and so we've both been saying, like, two things can be true. You can look at this team and say there are holes and there are issues with switching on defense. There's issues with closeouts. There's issues with getting easy buckets. His comment earlier was like they're not really getting Terrace involved when he was absolutely dominant last game, and I think they could have done that early. So there are some issues with this team. But how do we not look at this game and say the last 2 games in Maui, forget about the bye games where we had a terrible whistle. Teams have shot 70 free throws to UConn's 30 in 2 games. 2 games. I just like, at what point does the team, their mental toughness start to dwindle where you go, Coach, I'm moving my feet. I'm trying. I'm not reaching. And listen, I'm not saying every call is bad for those who are thinking I'm complaining on everything. It's the aggregate. It's everything. When you break it down, have you ever watched a Houston Cougars game and you're going to sit there and tell me that UConn is fouling on every possession of consequence? And then to take it even to a further step, we have a couple examples. I didn't get clips of it yet, and maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But my first one is Hassan Diarra makes a great roll to the hoop, gets an angle on his defender, literally uses his body to defend and does this, but he gets bumped a little bit, no call, they let him play. Perfect. I don't care about that. 2 possessions later, the same call is made, or different call is made against UConn on Samson Johnson. I don't know why that happens, and if you're a quote-unquote cylinder or rules expert, it's starting to get a little ridiculous where it's essentially just bias, and it has to do with Dan and how he interacts with refs. Like, at this point, it has to be. You can't tell me that now UConn is essentially the biggest culprit of being a undisciplined fouling team all the time to this extent. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. I'm literally that meme of Anchorman where it's like, I don't believe you. I just don't. Sorry. Liam was great tonight. Alex was off. It happens. I thought Haas was good. I don't know why he was the guy who took the last shot. I disagree with that. I don't know if he took that on his own. But it is what it is, man. 2-game losing streak. I kind of love it in a respect where now people are going to hate on us even more. The first comment in my mentions was the Zanetto curse lives on, as if I wasn't right on everything from last March. And now because I'm wrong about these 2 predictions at the beginning of the year, I'm a curse. Fair enough. Love you guys. Hate it. Hate me. I love it. Hate me. Hate Dan Hurley. Hate us all. But we're not going anywhere. We may even be unranked after this tournament. Who cares? We've won titles as a 4 seed, as a 7 seed, as a 3 seed. Just need to get it together. All right, I'm going to bring Dan in here, and then we're going to get some people. And obviously, we have some people that are going to want to jump on, and our comments are going crazy. So what you got for me, brother?
How we doing? Rough one today. So to answer your question, the last time UConn has lost 2 games in a row was the 2022-23 season. Middle of Big East play. They lost to St. John's, and then they lost to Seton Hall by 1. So 2 seasons ago was the last time UConn's lost 2 games in a row. A rarity. They're a really good program, so they're not going to lose a whole lot of times 2 games in a row. I thought you've already kind of broken down the fouling. I am trying to go as quickly as I can through every box score to find the last time. So UConn committed 31 fouls yesterday against Memphis, and that sounded like a lot to me. So I started going through box scores. I'm midway through the 22-23 season to try to find the last time a Dan Hurley team has committed 31 fouls. I'm quickly learning that 20 fouls for this team is a rare occurrence. Never mind 30. I'm halfway through. I've looked at every box score for the last 2 seasons. I have yet to find a game they've committed 31 fouls in. So I will leave the fouling nonsense there. This team has some glaring issues. Glaring issues, but the whistle has also been very poor the last 2 days. Both of those things can be true. Samson Johnson, a lot of his fouls, and Terrace, more so in Samson's regard, are self-inflicted. He has glaring disciplinary issues. I don't know how we can continue playing these games, showing him game film. He's not learning. He's not progressing in certain regards. It needs to improve.
And I'm not trying to cut you off, and I totally, to a certain extent, I agree with that. But there's a part of me that also thinks that he's a marked man. And listen, give me a tinfoil hat, call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to do. This dude, because Terrace fouled out too. But there's
a reason for it. He is begging. His discipline is so bad. He reaches 18 to 20 feet from the basket. He's not staying vertical. You saw Dan. I made this comment on the podcast yesterday, and you saw the cameras pan to Hurley during the game today. You have to stay vertical. He's hanging over guys. He's jumping into guys under the vertical. I know.
And they called it on him anyway. So what the fuck's the difference?
The refs are now looking for it because he's so pesky. Both of those things can be true. Refs need to do a better job not anticipating fouls. They need to clean that up. And once we get into Big East play, we're not going to have any of these ragtag ref crews any longer. So I think some of that will go away.
This ref crew were like, terrible. I don't even know what this one in particular tonight was not a ragtag crew. This is likely. And here's the thing. Big East refs aren't great either. Okay. So if you guys think this is going to end, then I have a very hard truth for you. It's not. Get used to these games, grinding out every single game, because this team is not going to blow people out unless they're playing, low major teams. And when they're playing these high major teams, think about the amount of scoring that the other teams have done. Has defense been bad? Yes. But guess what, guys? This team is Colorado made shots. They shot 64% from 3, almost 65% from 3. I think Memphis was at 55% or 54%.
Colorado shot 65% from 3 today?
Yes. 56.3. Sorry.
Oof.
So
brutal.
In 2 games, you give a team 70 to 30 free throw advantage, and they're shooting 56% from 3 and 54% from 3. The fact that we even are close in these games just shows that we're not that far off. So we just need to lower expectations for the rest of the year, because I don't even care who we play. We could literally play Chaminade tomorrow and play them in their own gym, and we're probably going to get more fouls called than them, because it's a road whistle. You just have to think about it. They're going to get a road whistle all year. I don't
want to get into the habit. It's going to get old fast of complaining about referees. The last 2 games, the ref crews were bad. We'll leave it at that. UConn's personnel, their disciplinary mistakes need to get cleaned up a whole lot and fast, because this is Samson Johnson. I tweeted out yesterday, Jake Voskuhl is the all-time leader in fouls committed per 40 minutes in the UConn basketball program with like 5.7. Samson Johnson commits over 7 fouls per 40 minutes. That is his MO. It needs to get cleaned up and fast, because it's bleeding into the second unit. You're giving the other team confidence, breaking up the game like this. It gets UConn out of their flow. There's a reason why these teams are shooting the way they are. One, because the guard play, it's been okay defensively, but this team, the personnel, Donovan Clingan, Steph Castle, and Cam Spencer are not, and Tristan Newton are not walking through that door. They are gone. Leave last year's team last year. This is a new season. The personnel is not going to be as strong. They're smaller. They're a smaller team defensively and offensively. The lob plays are going to be less prevalent on offense. And guards, we've played against 2 6'0" guards in the last 2 days, and they're shooting over 50% from 3, because they can get clean looks over our 6 foot and 6'2", 6'3" guards. That's not going anywhere. So we just need to clean things up on the perimeter, and getting beat off the dribble is one thing, but we can't funnel things to the middle anymore because of the propensity to foul down low with our centers. Yesterday, Samson, solo ball, and Terrace Reed, all 3 of them fouled out. That's 15 fouls between 3 guys. 10 more again tonight between Samson. So 2 nights in a row, Terrace Reed and Samson Johnson have fouled out. That has to change. That's, blame it on the refs all you want. We need to figure out our own shit before, this gets really ugly going forward. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to get Tyler in here to give his thoughts. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up? Yeah, this was worse than yesterday, I thought. When the game started, I was really surprised that that Colorado wasn't picking up Mahaney right at half court, because they gave Memphis gave him a ton of trouble. So when I saw that, and I was like, wow, did they not watch the game? I was like, wow, UConn's going to win this game. The first half went well, and I was like, the way it went, I was like, they fouled so much in the second half. That's not going to continue in the first half. It's not going to continue in the second half, and they're going to blow this one open. But that didn't. 10 seconds into the second half, Samson gets a foul.
Wasn't a foul, by the way. That was the softest call all day. That was awful.
The refs have been bad, but this damn team, they keep leaving their feet. All of them.
That's true.
Roll up and keep your body between the ball and the basket. There was a play where they threw it into Malone, and it was a bad pass, and Ross came in over on the other side to help. All he had to do was just go and wall up. He had Reed on this to his right. They could have pinned him down there against the baseline. Instead, he goes for the steal, and then Malone gets it and puts it up for an easy layup. It's just they're always trying to make the big play. They just need to just put their chest up, wall up, and stop leaving their feet. And it's the refs have been bad, but UConn has also been bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, what's funny is because I cover the women's team too, what it reminds me of is I guess yesterday I watched the replay of the women's game, and Janet Elfie is their 6'5" center from Egypt, who's supposed to be the second coming and has been pretty unimpressive, but she was great last night. And the thing that Gino said was it's like she's trying to make up for everything in every play. And I think that's what this looked like.
6'5". She's
right.
So
I feel but that's what this is for the men's side. To make that correlation is they are really, so Tyler, that's a great point, is they're really trying to play hero ball constantly
100%.
Versus just taking what's given. And listen, I may disagree with my dad a lot. He's 72 years old. He might have a different perspective from me. But if I could go back to earlier in the game where he was just they need to get Terrace Reed involved, because I don't think they went after the kid Malone, who was their kind of inside presence and dominated them in essence. And at a minimum, make him guard, make him feel like he has to do more than just, post up down low and hit shots and kick out to people when he gets doubled, because you got to make people play on both sides of the ball and
just make them work
and make them work. And that was not something that they did in this game. I don't know if it's decision making from the guards. I don't know if that was, and Tyler, I want to hear from you on this, but I actually, for the first time in all of the time I've watched Alex Karaban, I thought he made some really poor decisions tonight, because to me, he's got the green light to shoot whenever he wants. But
too many 30-footers.
But too many 30-footers. I agree, Dan. Like, come on, man. Like, you're 1 of 6 today, or 1 of 7, whatever you were. Let's see what he was. I think
1 of 6. I think
game shooting over 50% from 3. So
yeah,
but if you're feeling it like Solo was tonight, go nuts. But here's the thing:
I'm honestly fine with Alex taking those. I think honestly, it's like what you just said. Like, everyone's trying to make the big play, and all you need to do is just keep your man in front of you. If you watch the last 3-4 minutes, Reed finally did that. And when you don't go up to block the shot, you're in position to put a body, box out, and get a rebound. And like,
he didn't do that late in the game because he had 4 fouls.
Yeah,
he was already in trouble.
So maybe that's why he wasn't
Sure.
jumping.
I want to go through some notes, if you don't mind. I thought just to highlight, there was a change in the lineup made at the beginning. Mahaney doesn't start today. Diarra comes off the bench to start the game. First play of the game, we get a lob to Sampson. Great start. Good change. I thought it was interesting that they only made 1 change. We thought there might be 2, with Diarra starting and Terrace Reed. Terrace Reed, I saw before the game, is now right. He's literally the most efficient player in college basketball right now, coming into today's game. They only make 1 change, so it's just Diarra today. We'll maybe again get another Sampson foul out. Maybe it'll be Diarra and Terrace starting next game. Again, early foul trouble. Sampson had 2. Nothing, no changes there. I thought Liam McNeely was fantastic in the first half. 16 points. He was doing a little bit of everything. He was started 4 for 4 from 3. Got into the lane, hit a couple mid-range floaters. Solo ball was awesome off screens. He's shooting the quick ball off us. Yeah, he looks really good and comfortable coming off of screen.
His footwork is amazing.
Really good for. He's prepared. Every time he catches the ball, the feet are ready.
The
puppies are ready.
Yeah.
Again, the Sampson over the back, just too much of that. You got to learn. Ahmad Noel coming off the bench was an instant spark plug.
He's the guy.
The Mahaney minutes, again, there's just not much there. I think they gave him a quick leash tonight. So it was nice seeing Ahmad. I think his hand was hurt. His left hand was wrapped the last few days. So I think he might have been injured yesterday.
I talked to some folks. He talked about this earlier in the day. He kind of hyperextended the wrist going backwards, but then it got swollen. So that's why they held him out last game, even though he passed all the tests. So they put him in obviously today, not just because change of pace, but because they felt like he was fully healthy, giving it a day. But I mean, as far as I know, like, who I talked to that's pretty close to the situation was like, he could have played against Memphis. Yeah. They were just being precautionary. And so he was fine, man. Like, he makes dumb decisions because he's a freshman. But the thing that I love about Ahmad is he's built like a linebacker. Yeah. He's not going to get taken advantage of even by bigger guards because he can wall up. And if they try to post him up, I mean, he's literally built like a brick shit house. He's fine.
He reminds me of a young Raymond Felton, just a really wide base. And like defensively, you're not, even if you kind of beat him off the dribble, you're not going to get around him.
Yeah, I think out of him, Diarra, and Mahaney, I think he looks the most comfortable as the point guard. I actually thought Diarra played really well today, except for that last take at the end where he got stuffed. Like, there's just like nothing. I don't know. Sometimes I get so frustrated by him because I feel like he takes things when there's nothing there, and
there's not a whole lot there right now.
I mean, that's fair. And
the personnel is different this year. Everything's harder. The team is smaller. For sure.
Yeah,
those open looks just these guards can't rise up over their defender in the lane. They're just smaller. Like there's going to be less of everything this year, and I think the offense, they're running through their sets. Like they're setting screens, they're moving the ball, they're sprinting around screens. They're coming off screens, and there's just nothing there.
Yeah, there isn't.
Hey guys, real quick, I gotta go to a quick break and pay some bills, and then Tyler, I'm gonna hear you one more time, and then we got
I got three other folks. Couple more things I'll say, and then you kick me off.
All right, brother. All right, let's do a quick ad for my friends at Game Time. Where you at? There's nothing like being at a game, feeling the energy of the crowd, the sound of sneakers squeaking on the court. It's simply nothing like it. It's all better live, and it's not just about games. It's also concerts, comedy shows, whatever you like. Use Game Time. I do it all the time for family and friends, and they're blown away by how easy it is and how quickly I can get them deals. Lock in amazing seats at a fraction of the price. On top of that, Game Time has your back with the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. If you find tickets for less, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. You can actually make money if you use Game Time. That's kind of the peace of mind that makes this app a must-have. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So what time is it, folks? It's Game Time. Maybe someone should tell UConn for next game that it's Game Time. What do you think? We're back on Locked On UConn. Let's get Tyler and Dan back in here, and then we'll get some other folks. We got Silky, Bernie, and Ryan ready to go. All right, Tyler, what you got? Last word.
Yeah, so the last thing I'll add is I thought Stewart played well. He seems to be the one person that seems to understand the offense because he's getting involved. He's attacking the rim when people are putting up shots, and he's getting rebounds and putting them back. The last couple games of Stewart I think were great. I'd love to see him get more minutes. And then just finally, we've lost one game in overtime, another game by 1 point. We want the outcome to be different, but it's not. But it's not like we're getting blown out, right? Alabama got blown out by Purdue a couple weeks ago. Iowa State had a huge letdown last night. Obviously, they face better competition. These are two games that we should have won, but all is not lost. There's talented pieces here. And they kind of, I don't know what to expect tomorrow, but they're going to have to regroup. They have a bye game, and then they have another tough gauntlet. Hopefully they can just, regroup and figure things out before that happens. I trust Hurley.
Oh, yeah, man.
That's it.
For sure. Listen, man, I really appreciate you, Tyler, as always. Appreciate you coming on.
I'll be here every game.
Great insight, my man.
Every time. Appreciate you, bro. All right, Silky, what you got?
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Yeah, I just my first thing is, how do you not start Reed this game? I just don't understand it. I'm sorry. I think you should have feed him the ball, start him early, get him going. He had 20 and 12 last game, and he had 2 points. And I think part of the reason of that is Samson Johnson started the game. I think Samson Johnson did play better, but I feel like he's an off the bench, spark type of guy, kind of like how Hassan Diarra was last year. Mm-hmm. I think it's very similar, and I just don't understand why after a guy has 20 points and 10 rebounds, you sit him on the bench again.
He might have been gassed. That's my only working theory. He had to do a lot of heavy lifting. Samson fouled out in 14 minutes last night. Terrace played a lot of minutes. He fouled out too, but I think that's one working theory. The other one, I think they might have not wanted to make two changes in one game. They said they're going to do some tinkering. They did. Mahaney starts the game on the bench. Hassan starts. So perhaps they just wanted to make one change today. But if Samson Johnson's starting the next game, I would be shocked.
I think for me, what it comes down to, Silk, is that it's one of these things where Dan is building a program. It's not just reactionary to one or two games. And I think Samson has been there for him for upwards now of 4 years, playing for 3. And I know Terrace is the better option. You're not going to get me to say otherwise. So I'm not just holding water for Dan Hurley, but I think the bottom line is Dan wants Samson to perform well. And I think sometimes that's the issue. And I'm not criticizing Dan Hurley in any way, shape, or form. I'm a ride or die Dan Hurley. Like, I put out a video this morning. People can hate on him. I don't give a rip. It's more about just finding the right role for Samson. And if that means coming off the bench, like a lot of us feel like he should, he'll get there.
I think he also wanted to.
Let me finish this point. I don't think that Dan wants to do what he did again, essentially to Aiden today, to 2 players in one game. I think he's spacing out some of these changes to Dan's point, because look, you still gotta fly back to Connecticut. You can't leave these players here, man. They're with you all year. So you can't just destroy these kids' confidence in Maui, and then we're screwed for the Big East tournament because then what? You know what I mean? Like that would be my comment to that. So I think they're going to figure it out. They better figure it out, or it's going to be a long year. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, I think he wanted to give some of the guys a benefit of the doubt after yesterday. Sure. He's all over the refs. You know, he's probably, if anything, for his guys' sake, pinning that game on the refs. He knows they played hard. He's not going to kind of slap Sampson on the wrist and blame him for what he thought might have been a poorly officiated game. So I agree.
Yeah. Another thing that I had, I would like to see a bigger lineup out there, like 1 guard, 4 forwards lineup. I don't really think I saw that too much. It was a lot of like either solo ball or Hassan and solo ball and Noel. I like to see like maybe like a Hassan, Karaban, McNeely, Jay Stu, Reed type of lineup. I don't really seen that much. I mean, I'd like to see that more because I think it would help us defensively a ton with having the size advantage in a lot of positions. And the 2 guard lineup with it smaller, I just don't agree with. I just don't agree with it because I think we get killed on drives and stuff like that.
I think in a perfect world, they would go to that more, but you'd like to be balanced as a starting lineup. The personnel has been, their last 2 seasons has been just a perfectly crafted starting 5 with 3 or 4 go-to guys off. They get to play just the way that they want the last 2 years. This year, you're just going to see less of that because, one, the glaring fouling issues, but they're kind of forced into some of these lineup changes and rotations because of how the games are playing out.
Yeah.
You got anything else for us, Sil?
Yeah, last thing, just stop jumping out in corner 3, please. Oh my gosh.
But can I also point out this, because I know everyone can call me a whiner and complainer all you want.
No, I agree with a lot of your foul calls. I mean, the 10 seconds with the Sampson thing instantly has to get him out of the game. I mean, it's just ruins momentum.
Unforced errors
on closeouts. How about when Solo banged that 3 to put them up almost up? I think it was 3 or 5, and he got the guy didn't let him land. That's a textbook foul. Like, and he was like, "Hey, can I get a foul here?" Like, and it's just those are moments that infuriate. I know Dan Hurley, and it pisses me off too because it's like, bro, you're trying to make us look like we're whining and complaining when reality is like we literally have receipts, guys. Like, this is not a difficult thing.
The over the back call at the end of the game in the final minute, brutal. Like literal deja vu from yesterday's game. It played out exactly how yesterday's game was. They panned to Hurley, and it's just like, come on.
Come on, ESPN had that ready.
Like
ESPN had that ready.
It's right there in front of your
back,
face.
like he was a football player from not really coming out there and absolutely ripping all the referees and getting ejected from the game because
Kamani literally had to restrain him, and he learned. Thankfully, yesterday happened. Obviously, we lose the game, so it didn't really work. But Kamani holds him back 2 days in a row with under a minute to play. It was like insane that it played out.
They should be able to review that call. They should be able to review that. I think that's ridiculous.
Something. It was not. It's the same. It was a clear over the back play, even worse than McNeely's yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm going to respond to Tommy C here. Hurley has been over the top. You know why? Because the refs have been over the top, 70-30 in fouls. So I appreciate your comment.
And that's enough. I have one more thing. If I can just one more thing. I think the fouls as well makes us play defense, like less hard defense, and have to be a little bit softer.
It's human nature.
Bailed out. Yes.
And it makes people foul out. I mean, I've never seen 2 centers foul out in back-to-back games in any college team in my life.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Agreed.
All right, bro. I got to drop you. We got a lot of people. And
all right, thank you.
Stuff in. Awesome, bro. All right, I gotta get my man Tyrone in here. He's been a guest on the show. I see him backstage. He's a comedian out of Hartford. He resides in Charlotte, but he was at the URI exhibition game. He was sending me some stuff there. I need a little comic relief, my guy. Like, I love you, so we're gonna have you come on. And I'm just tired of all this BS. What's up, man? Wait, you're on mute. We want to make sure we get all of you. There we go. Hold on. You gotta unmute your mic, bro. I can't do it for you. Man, you weren't ready for prime time? What's going on?
He's got the mic and everything.
God. I'm gonna put there he is. Come on, man.
Bro, listen, man. That's why I tell jokes. I don't know how to click buttons on a laptop, bro. This is very difficult. I was upset I couldn't join off my phone. I said, what? I gotta open up my laptop for this? What's up, man?
How we doing?
Hey, man, look, first of all, hey, man. Make us laugh. Hey, look, I'm happy that we be filing the way we filing and the referees calling it back, because I like to see everybody play. I don't know about everybody else, but when Youssef got in the game, I was like, yeah, let's go, baby. You know what I mean?
I was excited about it too. I won't lie to you.
Hey, and he did pretty good. He gave up a bucket down low, but what people didn't see is he got 2 key stops, though. He turned the ball over on the other side, for the other team twice. So I was happy about that, man. Let's get Youssef some more playing time. And
First half Youssef minutes. It's like a solar eclipse. Haven't seen that ever.
Yeah, man, it was good to see. It was good to see. So I like it when we foul a lot because we get to see. I still want to see Isaiah get in the game. Somebody else got to pick up some fouls, man, so we can get the headband brother in the game. He cold too, man. I want to see. Hey, I'll be like cooling because the bench is so deep. Put anybody in there, we gonna hoop, bro. I don't know. I feel like I understand the transfer portal was cool, but you know what college need to add? We need to be able to trade for folks, man. Can we trade Mahaney for kid from Memphis, the Hunter dude? I'll do a straight up trade off the rip.
It's true.
We might be headed that way soon.
We might be headed that way. Honestly, man,
you
sign a contract, and it's like, hey, man, if it's not working out, we're gonna send you to the SoCon, where down here in the mid major world, and see if you can hack it there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Comment to whoever just commented in the chat. Why would we have Youssef playing at the end of the game? Both of our centers were fouled out. That's why.
Where's
that? Nobody left.
Yeah, I see that comment too. He said he was livid. Yeah, I like Youssef.
I was too. Everybody was. No one wants to see Youssef Singari playing in the last 2 minutes of the game. That means things are not going how we want them to go. That is
man,
this team wants to find themselves in, and it is what it is. They didn't play well.
What I'll tell you guys, what I thought was the most interesting thing is when we were playing the best in the first half, when we got up to, I think we had an 11-point lead, and there was no upperclassmen in the game. No Alex, no Mahaney, no Terrace. It was essentially
first half or second half
in the game. First half when they got up, I think it was 26-15 or 26-13. You had Ahmad in, you had Jalen in, you had Liam in, you had essentially 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores. And It was, I felt like, because someone said, they should send a message to Samson. I honestly thought that was a message to Dan. It's like, listen, man, get your stuff together, or we're just going to play these young kids all game. And I honestly, this is a year where, regardless of whether we get it together and compete for a national championship, I think, and honestly, everyone can rip me for it because I've been talking about 3P and all that stuff all year. But hey, man, I'm just going by what I hear, what I read, everything that I find out. And now that we're playing the games, I'm seeing the chinks in their armor. But my biggest thing is Dan is now seeing some of these same holes in live time. And he's like, I need to get everybody ready because I can't just rely on, as Dan said earlier, there's no Tristan, there's no Cam, there's no Steph, there's no Donovan. I don't have these guys. I don't have Hawkins to be able to kind of give me 15 easy off the bench. He's got some dudes like Liam gave him 20 tonight. Solo gave him 14, 15 points.
I haven't,
but he doesn't have multiple, they're not, like he's talked about, they're not bulletproof. And he's trying to get them to that point. They may not get there this year, but the bottom line is he's trying to get these dudes because this is a program. But this isn't one season and then everyone leaves. So we're not Kentucky. We're not Duke. These guys are back next year, whether you like them or not. They're coming back.
There's not a whole lot of easy offense for this team
there isn't.
now.
Yeah.
No matter, I don't care what lineups on the court. Their personnel is smaller on offense and defense. Like the offense, they're running the same offense. It hasn't changed, but the lob plays aren't there. Yep. There's no dribble drives by Tristan Newton, who's 6'5", who can get by anybody he wants.
Right.
We could always turn to that. You saw it in the Kansas game early last year. We had nothing going on offense, and Tristan Newton just took it upon himself to insert himself into the game and create instant offense the dribble, fadeaway threes off screens. That's just not going to be there this season. I see a little bit of it with solo ball. I don't know how much of that is available with Hassan Diarra. It's clearly not available with Aiden Mahaney. Liam 6'7", he's going to be able to get his shot when he wants to, but you can't go to that every time. You got to try to find some more easy buckets from the guards on this team because they're running their sets. If the lob play for Sampson's not there, and if he can't stay on the court, he's a net like 0 or a negative. Like if he can't, he's never going to be relied upon to find his own offense, which is fine. But if the lob play is there, I just don't know how effective he is on the court.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the lob was really there because Tristan put so much pressure on the defense. You got to slide over to help. And that's how the lobs was there. But ain't nobody concerned about Diarra going to the hole. They letting him get his own shot off for real. And I hope he gets into the swing of things because he's playing better and better every game. I was not impressed those first 4 games.
Defense with him is always going to be there. That's why he's in the game.
I mean, look, you
there's
guys are right.
There's got to be some offense too,
But Haas, I didn't want him taking that. I didn't want him taking that last shot.
No, me neither.
But he still had 11 points and 6 assists tonight. It's not. He's not putting up numbers, and it's not like he was doing it when we were down and like they were giving him looks. He was 3 of 4 from 3. That's his role. His role is to be a steady point guard, be a 10 and 6 guy if we have that. And to give a spark on our defensive side, and he did that. He shouldn't be the guy that we go to at the end of the game.
That play
the guy that we're driving the hoop.
What was the point of calling the timeout? I'm sure Dan had a better play in mind. What was that about?
I don't think that play was called. I thought that play was called for Alex. He came off the screen and the shot just wasn't there. Like I said, I thought so.
But to me, I think that needs to go to Solo because he can create
something else.
And he hit the shot last game too. So and I think he's the clutchest guy on our team in terms of ice water in his veins. Doesn't give a rip about what the situation is.
I highly doubt that Dan Hurley called a timeout for his 6'2" guard to take a contested three.
I was so mad when he shot that up. Right, no way.
Tyrone, tell people there's a lot of people.
Before this, hold on. Twice in 2 days, UConn basketball has had to call a under 10-second gotta have it play. We haven't seen that in 2 years.
That's a fact.
In a row.
All right, man. I'm gonna drop you, but I want people to know where they can find you because you're hysterical and you go on tour, and there's probably some people in the chat that may be looking for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we're gonna need a lot of laughter this season, guys. So if you're coming to stand-up comedy shows, I'm your brother, man. Listen, find me on everything: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram is my last name, Burston, Burston, Burston with comedy. My name is Tyrone Burston, so you can look that up too, man. But come out to these shows so we can laugh and cry after these games, man. We're going to need it bad.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, that was Tyrone. Listen, here's the order. If you're waiting in the chat, I got Bernie, Ryan, then we're going to go Justin and Basil. Actually, Basil, you were in before Justin. I'm sorry, Justin. I'm gonna try to get – listen, guys, we got a lot of people in the chat. I'm going to try to get people in for quick comments. I know I've had a few people on longer than normal, but Tyrone's my guy, and he's been on the show for like a full show, so I had to get him in. So give me Bernie right now. What's up, Bernie? What you got?
Okay, first of all, I have to wonder, did somebody give the referee some bad poi? Is that the reason why they keep on calling UConn for all these fouls? Because I don't know. It's just insane. I will say this. I actually scared my mother, who I take care of, who happens to be disabled. I screamed "why" twice, and she thought it was something was wrong because after that shot by Diarra. So it was rough. These 2 games have been rough. But the one thing that I agree with is the fact that there's no blowouts. We've lost by a combined 3 points. 3 points. If we lost, like say Creighton today lost by 18 to San Diego State, or we lost to like St. John's lost to Georgia in the Bahamas and stuff like that, I would be like screaming. Well, I kind of did scream, but no, I would be more upset. But the thing that I kind of had a feeling that UConn was going to struggle today when I saw Samson Johnson be in the starting lineup. First thing I said was, why? And I understand Reed was gassed, but again, why would you put Johnson in the lineup after what he did yesterday? It makes no sense. Put Reed in. And what happened? Johnson gets called for 2 fouls. I mean, the first half was insane. 14 fouls was called in the first half against UConn. 14. Colorado shot an insane amount of free throws in that first half. An insane amount. I mean, that doesn't make any logical sense. And then Karaban shooting 30-footers. I mean, like I said to you yesterday when I was talking to you, I go on NCAA.com because, I'm one of those nervous UConn fans. Every single time I watch them, I think something bad is going to happen. and I see Karaban miss 3-pointer, miss 3-pointer, miss 3-pointer, miss 3-pointer. And I wonder when he goes to bed tonight, is he going to try to shoot a 30-footer 3-pointer when he's in bed? Oh, he missed it. It's insane that it's like, okay, I know Karaban is a 3-point shooter.
The leash offensively, it is Alex Karaban. He makes all the right plays, and he's been on fire to start the season. But
yeah,
again,
but
I agree. There's so many 3-point lines drawn on that Maui Invitational court. He might not know which one to stand behind.
It's true.
Okay. I agree. But the thing is, it's that he's a 3-point shooter. I get it. But don't need to shoot 30 feet shot. I mean, go in the paint, drive.
I got you, Bernie. We get it. And I'll before I drop you off, Bernie, because we have some more folks in here. I agree. As I said it earlier, this is the first time I think I've seen Alex make a couple bad decisions in the game. But guess what? Long season ago, you know how this is going to end up. Okay, UConn.
I've been a fan for 40-something years. I've been through the worst. I've been through it.
Same. And here's the deal. We're having struggles right now. But you just know that UConn is probably going to beat Gonzaga, probably going to beat Baylor, and probably going to beat Texas, and kind of take it all back to, now this team is a contender again. So appreciate you, man. All the best. Keep coming back.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. And like I said, I like your show, and I like your show on YouTube, and I appreciate the time.
Thanks, man. See you tomorrow, because guess what? We'll do another live reaction show for the
you're damn right. I'll be on tomorrow.
That one's gonna. I think that one's gonna be. I think UConn plays at midnight tomorrow. So that.
Are you serious?
No. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you can tell me that's not true. All right, Bernie, we're dropping you. Ryan, come on.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, brother.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first of all, the guy who went before me, he definitely spoke for what I was going to say. Definitely. I think they're shooting way too many threes. I think they're just shooting too many threes. It just seems like in that first half, certainly in the first half, like they would just kick the ball out whenever they would try to drive in, and they just shy away from the slightest contact.
No, I don't disagree. I think the shooting too many threes only happens when people lose. If we win both of those games, if we beat Memphis, if we beat, obviously we beat Memphis, we wouldn't have played Colorado. But even if we lose to Memphis, beat Colorado, I mean, if you think about their percentage, they shot 31 threes, they made 12. The problem is the defense on 3-pointers. Colorado shot 56.3% from 3 today. They were 9 of 16. And even though UConn made 3 more, I mean, that's a pretty tough hole to climb out of. If we take away the disparity in free throws, 28-10, just from that perspective, it's a tough hole to get out of. But I just think it's the timing of it, and it's the inability to work on Terrace Reed down low, who was 1 of 1 today, and only took 1 shot. So that to me is the bigger issue than shooting the threes so much. 12:30 a.m. tip for a 7th place game. Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, tomorrow's 11 p.m.
There may not be a live reaction show, guys, because it's the day before Thanksgiving. And I guarantee you, if I do one, I'll probably be more tipsy than I've ever been on a live reaction show than you can possibly imagine. So I don't know if that is going to be the best case scenario, because I'll be like, and the FanDuel is blah blah blah. Like I don't necessarily know if I'd be able to do ad reads, but anyway, I don't know, man. Like, do you have anything else for us, Ryan, or else I'm gonna jump to Basil or Justin?
Oh yeah, I think you made a lot of good points. I'm just saying that we get it, Hurley. Your offense is really complicated. I just think that when you're playing a team that you are so much clearly better than, then you should, be focused on driving to the basket, especially when you're trying to, narrow that disparity in free throws. And also,
Colorado coming into tonight had the 121st ranked offensive rating in KenPom. That's not a great offensive team. They got blown out by Michigan State last night. Michigan State shot 2 of 21 from 3 last night and won by 15 points. We have some serious glaring issues we need to clean up outside the fouls. A lot of this was self-inflicted, and we'll go back to the drawing board. But yeah, playing Maryland Eastern Shores, who lost to Arkansas last night by about 80, we might need to play a team like that when we get back from Maui.
Hopefully.
All right, my guy. I'm going to go to Justin. Basil dropped off, and if I do somehow venture for a live reaction show at like 2:30 in the morning, maybe we'll see you tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Literally.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Mark.
All right, brother. All right, Justin. Justin's been the most patient guy in this chat. So
thanks for hanging with us.
Man. Well, listen, I love tuning in, Mark. You're freaking crushing it. I watch you daily, man. I love it. And Dan,
Appreciate
shout
you,
out to Ezzy68. Mike, we have a mutual friend, Mike Kubel, who put me on. So
hey, Mike lives in the 203. So
yeah.
No,
well, listen, like I don't want to beat a dead horse, right? We know we have some glaring issues, right? Post play, Sampson is completely subpar. Terrace can be a big factor for us if he can be a little more disciplined. I don't get too much into that. But the guard play is like really head scratching for me right now, right? Like Hurley wanted to, give Aiden his chance and be loyal to Hassan, it seems like. But man, like, especially defensively, like Hurley talks about positionless basketball all the time. He stockpiled a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" dudes. Man, let's get longer on the perimeter. And if we got to sacrifice some size down low, it's all right. Karaban can make up for our mistakes if we need be. But we're not getting out and getting up and under people, right? Like last year, we did what teams did to the teams what Memphis did to us yesterday, right? We started our offense like at half court, can't get into a rhythm because we were long. We were 6'3", 6'4", 6'6" on the perimeter. And really, like, we didn't, if you think about it, yeah, Newton was a Bob Cousy award winner, but he wasn't really like, we didn't have like a real true point guard. You know what I mean? He just had the gusto and experience to like make a play when we needed to happen. You know what I mean? But why is it that he talked about not having Diarra and Mahaney out there at the same time. We were doing that yesterday, and people are hunting Mahaney and exploiting him. Listen,
and they made a change today. They make that change today, but you want to.
No, I'm sorry. Go, Dan. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say you can't tinker everything all at once. You got to kind of move some pieces around game by game. And if there was ever a time to do that, it's now in these non-conference games. They want to figure this out before they get to conference play. I think you want to make a splash against some of these Big 12 teams, when they get back home. But I think that Hurley emphasizes looking the part more so during Big East play than he does these games. I think they'd rather look good for the committee in the second half of the year as opposed to now. In 8 weeks from now, you might look back at these last few games and laugh at them. So I think you tinker now in hopes of trying to gain some momentum and really figure out who your 7-8 are as you enter Big East play. So.
Yeah, I just think defensively, it's just really killing us because we're not able to get out closeouts. Closeouts is an issue. We're following people at the three because we're not getting to our spots defensively when we need to. And we got a bunch of these, like I said, 6'7", 6'8" guys. Like, hey, let's be a little creative. Let's put Jay Ross. Let's put him at the point. I mean, we run on a European offensive sort of system where it sets after actions and sets. Like, we don't really need a true point guard. And I think defensively, I mean, these teams are like you guys said, anywhere their guards are 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", and they're lighting us up for 50% behind the arc, right? Like, we need to apply some pressure. So I know Hurley is trying to be loyal and trying to work through some of these kinks and tinkering, but man, like some of this stuff is just glaring. How long is it going to go?
You know what I would like to see, and then I'm going to get to Basil here, but I appreciate you, Justin. But what I'd love to see is they did a little bit of it today. And I know they're just trying to protect people, but if they're going to get this whistle and also if they don't feel like Sampson and Terrace are responsible enough to not foul, like let's just take the refs out of it, is go to a little bit of a matchup zone and essentially let them play. Right. The wings have that positional versatility that we talk about in that positionless basketball. Let them create havoc and create that wingspan to get deflections and not be as intense in people's face. It doesn't take away from the intensity of how hard you play. And I'm not talking about a 2-3 Syracuse, Jim Boeheim, BS zone. I'm talking about matchup zone, a 3-2 flared out for teams that are or 1-2-2 that teams that really shoot it well, like these last two teams shot it against us. Get out on the 3-point line and make them get off that 3-point line and then kind of not pack it in and essentially kind of be like, all right, you gotta want to go one-on-one with our bigs. That's fine. Right. And maybe we're not a deterrent there, but who cares? That's what they did last year against teams like, remember when we got crushed by Creighton? I remember the show I did after, because it's the only loss I resided over. Actually, it's not. I did a demo show about that, so that never was released. And I remember saying the reason why they lost that game is not because Klingon got 2 quick fouls and had to sit on the bench. It's because they got away from those principles of not staying close with their man. That only happened like 3 times that year. Obviously, we lost, but like. Right. That's the thing, man. Like, this team is undisciplined right now. They get lost on screens. They don't switch properly. Then they get lost on 3-point opportunities and give guys open looks. Maybe a matchup zone is something that could kind of get them a little bit into what this team needs to be defensively down the stretch.
Yeah. And one last thing, the ball is sticking way too much, especially like, man, last year, like in the year before with Andre Jackson. I mean, the ball just moves, right? And it's like less dribbling, less holding on, and like the offense is stagnant, man.
I think size. I don't think that's for lack of trying. I think it's a personnel matter. The size just is not there. They're getting forced. In a perfect world, they'd like to be longer on the wings on offense, but with the fouling in the first half, they're putting themselves in tough positions rotationally, being forced into playing more guard heavy in these smaller lineups because the big men can't stay out of foul trouble. True. You chalk that up to referees all you want. That's not going to stop. Yeah. This team, the last 2 years, more so in last year, 22-23, they had some kinks. We didn't know it at the time. And I think last year's team probably blows that team out by 10 if they play together, if they play each other. But last year's team, you couldn't game plan against them.
No.
They were too big. They were good at every position. There was no game plan you could run out against UConn it's going to work. They're just bigger and they're better than you at every single position. This team, you can game plan against this team, and we've seen it the last 2 nights. They're hunting the big men. They're hunting Aiden Mahaney on defense. They're blowing by him, and they're getting down low to a guy that can't stay out of foul trouble. That's an easy way to break up a game against a team that might have better personnel skill-wise than you. You muck it up, get them into foul trouble, the game slows down, and then that gives your team more confidence on offense. And we've seen two teams that are smaller at the guard position than we are, who are shooting lighting it up from 3. So of our glaring issues on defense are bleeding into other parts of the game. They'll clean it up, but the personnel is not going to change. So I'm interested to see how they kind of respond to all that.
Free Jay Stu.
I feel you, man. All right, Justin.
See you later, guys.
Good to talk to you, brother. All right, Basil, what you got for us, brother? You're our last guy, and then I'm going to do my last ad read before we close it out. 2-game losing streak. Wah, wah, wah.
No pressure, right? I'm the closer.
Yeah, we brought in Mariano.
Andrew Hurley.
Yeah, I don't know if this was talked about yet, but I joined the show late, so I heard Billis say something interesting during the broadcast, and I said something similar yesterday about how the officiating can kind of dictate the way the defense is played. 100%. And just seeing a lot of hesitation, not only from our team, but like all the teams are they're scared to play defense, and it's just evening the playing field out way too much to the point where it's like we're just watching offense and trading baskets, and it's just it doesn't kind of reflect how strong a team is. Like we want to see both like defense and offense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just really frustrating to watch.
It is, and but we can complain about the refs all we want.
I'm done with it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to make excuses.
Half of the whistles called tonight were self-inflicted, and then that puts our roster into tough spots going forward in the rest of the game because they're playing hesitant. If they think if they reach or try to make a steal play, they're going to get whacked for a foul, and then when they do, they're like a deer in the headlights. What do you do as a 19, 20-year-old kid? You're like, I can't do anything out here. You know, they're trying to block shots. They're getting called for things that aren't, necessarily fouls. Then they're reaching, and that is a foul and it's getting called. So it's a kind of double-edged sword. But they've got to clean up some of that stuff because it's affecting many other parts of the game. It's breaking it up. It's slowing the game down. There's more stops in the clock. It just gives the other team, it evens things out a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm tired of this. I'm also tired of the Samson Johnson slander because that's just, I don't know. The kid won two championships with us. He's done everything right up until now. I mean, he's got new pieces around him, and it's just he's got to get used to the way the game is flowing. And then, like, if let's say like somebody blows by one of the guards, like he's got to step up and guard that guy coming to the basket. It's not easy when someone's coming downhill to try to stop somebody. That's going to put you in a position to foul. So I don't want to hear about like Samson doing all these dumb fouls, because it's like he had more help last year with the way the guards were rebounding, for example. Like,
he was the help. He came off the bench. He's a starter now, so he's got to get used to that. Like you said, there's a different flow to the game when you're starting the game on the court as opposed to coming in a relief role for 10, 12 minutes for the best shot blocker UConn's ever seen.
Right, because last 2 years we had the guards rebounding. Like, if he went up for a block and he got out of position, the guards would come in, swoop in, and get the and rebound. But he's got to turn around. If he missed let's say he blocked the shot and then somebody else gets the rebound, he's got to turn around and
yeah, it's one of the many growing pains I think
this
team will have to work through, obviously. And it's better to, again, these problems, you'd rather have them be glaring now, so you have a full season of runway to work on them. But like you said, he's starting the game now. He's used to coming off the bench where he could commit 3 or 4 fouls and it didn't hurt the team. They almost used him as a relief role to come in and eat some fouls up if they needed to. He can't do that anymore because it's bleeding into other parts of the game. So he's a great player. He's a big time talent. This is the first time he's ever started major minutes. He'll work on it. They'll get better. They've got a full season of runway to do so.
Yeah,
all right, my guy. I'm gonna cut you short because I need to go spend some time with family, and I'm not trying to cut this whole thing short. We almost went an hour today. Really appreciate you coming on, and appreciate anybody that jumped in. And if you're in the chat, even if you're hating on us, thanks for the engagement, my guys. It's a double-edged sword for me. I am a tried and true UConn fan, and I literally feel awful when they lose. But when they do lose, because of everyone hating on Dan Hurley and everything, the show actually does well. So it sucks.
For anyone that wants to keep talking, I do not have children, so keep tweeting at me. I see them all. I'll respond to everything that I can. At Danny Big Meech on Twitter. I'm not hard to find. So, Mark, enjoy your night with your kids. Tell them you will not be available tomorrow evening because we've got a late one. We might be going into Turkey Day.
I can pretty much tell you, I can pretty much guarantee you that there will not be a live reaction show if we start at midnight. I can tell you that right now. I may be able to sneak a random, quick, 10, 12 minute reaction show.
Tweets are always welcome. That's what tweets are
for. Not that I'm not going to watch, but I don't. Yeah, drunk stream may be the case, but here's the thing, guys. When you got 20-month-old kids that are, that you have to take care of once it gets past midnight, I got to keep an eye on if they wake up and all that stuff, because it's kind of important, as much as this is important, keeping them alive and making sure they're good is important as well.
These games are fun though. Thanks to all the callers for calling in. It's going to be fun all season, so keep it coming.
For sure, man. I'm going to just do the quick FanDuel read and then we're out. I appreciate you, Dan. You're the best. All right. Let's get that off the screen. Let's go to FanDuel and close this bad boy out. You guys know the deal. FanDuel is giving away $150 in bonus bets if you are a new customer and you win your first $5 bet. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on NFL all in one place. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. All right, we're back and we're closing out the show. I will give you one more stat before we leave. Despite all of the craziness of this game, I'm going to give you one positive to take away with this. The Huskies were up 4 in overtime yesterday and 5 today with 3 minutes left today. So they blew the lead both times. So that's the negative of it. If we can start to work towards closing out these tight games, because let's face it, the UConn staff has not had to deal with these tight games for a very long time. That's an issue right now. But I do think that we're going to work towards fixing it. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto, for Dan Meehan and everybody else that jumped on today. We really appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow, maybe, for a Turkey Day live reaction show. Stay tuned.